stimulate 可以去刺激個經濟，可以用 stimulate 呢個字嘅。Okay, so we can stimulate 去刺激個經濟。Okay, to stimulate the economy, or we can decrease the money supply so that we can cool down to slow down the economy. 可以減慢個經濟咧，我哋透過 money supply 嘅減少啦。咁所以點解我哋叫做 monetary 咧 ？monetary 嘅意思就係我哋透過 money supply 去改變 OK 嗰個經濟嘅狀況。So you see that altogether there are 4 monetary policy. Okay, there are 4 policy that we can use. And here is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you see that it is a bit complicated, right? Each of the policy include a long list of effects. 係咪啊？每一個 policy 個 effect 都好長啊，好似好複雜咁樣，係咪啊？咁啊，但係其實唔需要咁驚嘅，唔係咁複雜嘅啫。我哋咧首先學識咗睇後邊嗰度先，我哋分開2部分嚟到學。OK， 我哋咧學咗後邊呢部分，究竟我哋學 money supply 究竟點樣影響到個經濟先？我哋學咗後邊呢一部分先。Okay, so we will take a look at what is the relationship between the economy status and the money supply. Okay, so in the expansionary status, when there are more money available in the society, 當個社會裏邊充斥咗多啲嘅貨幣供應，大家嘅袋多啲錢啦，咁會點呢？ So with a higher money supply, then the AD will increase. And what is AD? AD is the aggregate demand. So aggregate demand means the total demand for all goods and services in the society. 我哋整體對貨物嘅需求啊，平時你哋聽新聞講嘅內需，個內係內部嘅內，個內需就係呢個 AD 啦。整體嘅貨物需求，即係整體上我哋對貨物同埋服務整體上嘅需求係高咗啊，定係低咗？好似我哋而家咁樣啦，因為個疫症啦，大家係留喺屋企啦，少咗娛樂，少咗購物，少咗出外去消費。咁我哋整體對貨物同服務嘅需求咧係減低咗嘅喎。OK， 咁呢個就叫 aggregate demand， 唔係講緊對某一項貨物或者某一項服務，而係將所有貨物同埋服務加埋一齊嘅總需求，呢個就為之 aggregate demand。So when there are more money available in the society, in general, we tend to buy more. 當成個社會充斥咗個貨幣嘅時候咧，充斥咗現金嘅時候咧，我哋就會對貨物嘅服務嘅需求就會增加啦。So when we tend to buy more, then it increases the GDP. So the GDP is the market value of total production.GDP 係講緊個 total production 啊嘛，係咪啊？我哋咩情況下會生產多啲啊？當大家都買多啲嘅時候，我哋咪需要生產多啲咯。Okay, so when we have a higher level of money supply, people tend to buy more. When people buy more, we have to produce more. When we produce more, it is an increase in national income. 當你生產多咗，其實帶翻嚟嘅係咩啊？呢個係咪個 national income 咯？個國家嘅收入咯，個 Y for income 呢個咪講緊我哋嘅 national income 增加咯。So when we produce more, the unemployment rate reduced. 當我哋生產多啲嘅時候，失業咪都少咗咯。We need to employ more labor. 我哋需要多啲員工啊嘛，係咪啊？So it is one of the way that the government can do to stimulate the economy. 咁所以如果令到整體貨幣供應多咗嘅時候，我哋就買多咗就生產多咗，生產多咗咪可以刺激個經濟，我哋個國家收入咪多咯，失業咪少咯。好啦，調翻轉啦。Okay, so in reverse, we can have contractionary monetary policy. So it means we have a decrease in money supply. Money supply 減少，市場上邊、社會上面嘅錢少咗啦。So when we have less money, we buy less. 好 簡單咯，個袋少咗錢，咪買少啲嘢咯。So the AD decreased. When AD decreased, we produce less. 大家買少啲，咪生產少啲咯。When we produce less, the national incomes decreased. 咁啊，好似而家咧，個個國家都話經濟差嘅原因係咩 ？AD 減少嘛，疫症留喺屋企 ，AD 少咗啊嘛 ，AD 少咗，生產咪少咗咯，生產少咗，你國家收入咪少咗咯。OK， 咁所以呢度我哋係想講俾你聽，其實 money supply，OK， 係會影響到個經濟嘅發展嘅。咁所以如果政府想催谷個經濟，你就增加 money supply 啦；想減慢個經濟，咁你就減少 money supply。Okay, so it is what we call the monetary policy. We make change to the economy status, okay, through the change in money supply. 透過 money supply 嘅改變，去到影響個經濟。好啦，咁而家講翻轉頭咯喎，咁即係點樣影響個 money supply？ 做啲乜嘢我哋先可以增加到或者減少到個 money supply 咧？係咪印銀紙咧？我哋話印銀紙冇用嘅，印銀紙只會令到啲錢貶值嘅啫。你原本成個國家有1000蚊，你變成1萬蚊，咁只會令到所有嘢都貴10倍嘅啫。OK， 係唔會令到你個貨幣供應增加而令到 AD 增加嘅，只會引致通脹。咁所以我哋話你要點樣先可以增加 money supply 啊 ？Okay, so the way to increase the money supply, there are 4 ways to increase the money supply. The first way is we can change the required reserve ratio. Okay, we can make change to required reserve ratio. So when we reduce the required reserve ratio, then the bank will have more excess reserve. 如果政府減低個要求嘅準備金率 ，OK， 咁原本係20% 嘅，我哋減到10%，咁你係咪多咗10% 嘅 excess reserve 出嚟啊？原本你要 keep 2萬蚊嘅儲備金，而家你只係需要 keep 1萬蚊嘅儲備金啫。咁呢度我咪多咗1萬蚊啊？咁嗰1萬蚊就咪嘅 excess reserve 咯。So when we reduce the required reserve ratio, the excess reserve increased. So when we have more excess reserve, we can make more loans. 咁我哋咪可以借多啲錢出街咯。有錢剩就可以借錢出街，借錢出街係形成乜嘢啊 ？Deposit creation 咯，咪可以製造存款咯。製造存款咪會令到 money supply 增加咯。OK， 咁所以我哋話其中一個方法就係我哋可以減低個存款準備金率。咁呢個係中國政府好中意用嘅。之前人行咧其實都降低過個準備金率咧好多次㗎啦。佢每降低0.25% 咧，佢放出嚟嘅咧係幾多千億人民幣，好犀利。OK， 咁當然啦，呢個都係風險嚟嘅。當銀行嘅準備金率低咗嘅時候，即係其實銀行倒閉嗰個風險亦都會大咗咯，係咪啊？因為佢借咗錢出街可能變壞帳㗎嘛。咁不過呢個係另一個考量啦嚇。咁但係我哋話最基本嚟到講，當你個準備金率係低咗嘅時候咧 ，OK， 咁我哋就會多啲錢借出街，就可以有 deposit creation 出現啦。Okay, so in reverse, where we increase the required reserve ratio, then the bank will have less excess reserve. Okay, then what happened is we have to reduce the loan. 如果我哋要留多啲錢喺銀行，我哋咪少咗錢可以借出街咯。咁你個 deposit creation 咪少咗咯，咁貨幣供應咪係少咗咯。OK， 咁所以你會發覺經濟好嘅時候咧，我哋可以加嗰個準備金率嘅；經濟差嘅時候咧，我哋就要降個準備金率咯。Okay, so this is the first tool. We can make change to the required reserve ratio, and then the second tool, the next is we can use the discount rate. Okay, so discount rate is an interest rate, and it is the interest rate between the central bank and the commercial bank. 嗱，呢一個 interest rate 咧係 central bank 同埋 commercial bank 中間嘅 interest rate， 即係話如果商業銀行要問 central bank 借錢，咁嗰個就係我哋叫嘅 discount rate， 中文叫貼現率，貼係貼紙嘅貼。現係現金個現，貼現率即係話，如果你需要啲現金，你要問 central bank 借嘅時候咧 ，central bank 就會收你呢一個 interest rate 啦。咁呢個 interest rate 好明顯咧，就會影響個 cost of borrowing， 影響我哋個借貸成本啦，係咪啊？如果個 interest rate 係高嘅時候，你嘅借貸成本就高咯，係咪啊？借貸成本高，咁我咪借少啲咯。咁所以如果我哋真係想 increase money supply， 我哋頭先話 monetary policy 係透過影響個貨幣供應而去影響個經濟啊嘛。如果你真係想個 money supply 增加，咁你就要啲銀行借多啲錢咯，咁所以我哋就會減息。OK， 減息咧就會鼓勵 encourage 個 loans， 就會鼓勵借貸啦。encourage， OK， 咁就鼓勵咗啲銀行去借錢咯，銀行多咗錢可以借，咁佢咪可以多啲錢借出街，從而個 demand deposit 咪會增加咗。銀行借多咗錢，咁銀行就會多咗 reserve 啦，多咗 reserve， 我哋就可以借多啲錢出街啦。當你借多啲錢出街，咪又係 deposit creation 嚟㗎咯。咁所以你會見到美國成日都減息就係希望去鼓勵貸款咯。當貸款增加嘅時候，我哋市場上面充斥嘅 money supply 就會多咗 ，money supply 多咗就可以 stimulate 去刺激個 AD 咯。咁啊，調翻轉頭啦，如果加息咁點啊 ？So if we increase the discount rate, then it increase the cost of borrowing, right? So it discourage borrowing in the society。咁咪唔鼓勵啲 commercial bank 去借錢咯。commercial bank 見個息率貴咗，我咪唔借咯。我唔借嘅時候，我咪少咗錢借錢出街咯。咁同樣地，如果 commercial bank 唔借錢，我咪少咗 reserve 咯。少咗 reserve， 我咪借少啲錢俾我嘅客人咯。咁嗰個 deposit creation 咪咯。咁點解成日都聽到美國話加息咧？息同埋減息係攞嚟刺激個借貸活動，而個借貸活動係會影響到市場上邊有幾多貨幣嘅供應。好，咁啊，呢個係 discount rate， 我哋中文平時叫嘅貼現率就係呢一個數啦。咁啊，有一個類似嘅，下邊呢一個其實好類似嘅。第三個 tools 咧，我哋係 interest rate， 就係我哋講嘅平時嘅息率啦。OK， 普通嘅息率我哋叫 interest rate。咁喺香港咧，我哋點解會咁嘅？我只不過想佢 show 下呢個，點解 show 唔到？ OK，show 到啦。咁喺香港咧，我哋就叫佢做 prime rate。OK，prime rate。咁 prime rate 咧，中文就叫做最優惠利率。OK，prime rate 呢個字最優惠利率。咁啊，英文係咩咧？佢話 it is the interest rate when banks lend to favourite customers。favorite 即係你喜愛顧客啦，係咪？咁所以中文我哋叫最優惠利率。咁點解無端端有個最優惠利率出咗嚟咧？同利率有咩分別咧？咁其實咧 interest rate 咧好多時唔係一個 standard 嘅 interest rate。咁即係話10個人去同銀行借錢咧，其實嗰10個人個 interest rate 咧可以唔同嘅，因為個 interest rate 其實 depends on the risk， 睇下銀行嘅借貸風險啫嘛。銀行借貸風險越高，佢咪收你越高息咯。所以私人貸款嘅息係會高啲嘅。如果你係有抵押嘅貸款，譬如你係做車嘅貸款，你係按咗架車俾銀行噶嘛，或者做樓宇嘅貸款，你係按咗層樓俾銀行，銀行嘅風險係低。咁當風險低嘅時候，其實佢個利息係會收你低啲嘅。咁所以其實銀行係冇一個 standard 嘅 interest rate。咁但係我哋話你都有個 minimum 嘅 interest rate， 有個最低嘅息率㗎，係咪？有個最優惠嘅息率㗎。咁譬如我哋咧銀行其實最低都係收2厘息㗎啦。咁不過如果風險高啲，我哋就收高啲息。咁呢2個 percent 咪我哋講嘅 prime rate 啦。OK， 你最喜愛嘅顧客，你最優惠最低嘅利率就係2個 percent。OK， 咁所以香港點解我哋會出咗個最優惠利率？最優惠利率就係話其實銀行最低嘅息口去到係幾多厘？咁但係 eventually 你借貸係可以係貴過呢個息口嘅。Okay, so what we can do is when we reduce the interest rate, then it encourage your customer to borrow from the bank。咁呢個好簡單啦，係咪啊？息率低，你咪鼓勵你嘅客借錢咯。 咁當你啲客借錢嘅時候，呢個咪就係 deposit creation 咯。咁所以你會見到無論係 discount rate 定係 interest rate， 當你個利率減低嘅時候，其實同樣地都係鼓勵借貸。不過 discount rate 係鼓勵商業銀行借錢，而個 interest rate 係鼓勵緊個 society 成個社會去借錢啫。咁調翻轉啦，如果個息率加咗嘅，咁咪 discourage 鼓勵啲人借少啲咯，貴咗息咪借少啲咯。我哋 rational decision maker 嚟噶嘛，係咪？你個 marginal cost 貴咗，我咪借少啲咯。咁啊，當我借少咗嘅時候，我哋個 deposit creation 就會少咗，我哋製造到嘅存款就會少咗。製造到存款少咗 ，money supply 咪少咗咯。Okay, so you see that the tools number 2 and tools number 3 is quite similar to each other. Okay, so both of them are interest rate, but just involve different parties. 只不過講緊係由邊個收邊一個嘅 interest rate， 係由 central bank 收 commercial bank 㗎，定係 commercial bank 收佢嘅 customer 咧？呢個就係 number 3個 interest rate 嘅意思啦。Okay, and then the last one, the fourth one is open market operation. So open market operation means it is the government. Okay, so it is the government purchase or sell securities in the market. Okay, so the government purchase or sell some securities. So the securities can be the treasurer bills or the government bonds. 可以係一啲政府嘅債券啦，或者係一啲嘅the treasury bills， 即係一啲都係啲類似政府債券嘅嘢。咁啊，呢個係講緊嗰個 money flow。Okay, so think about here is the government, and then here is the public. So when the government buy bonds in the general public， 哎呀，跳唔到原來，等一陣啦，佢跳唔到。跳到啦。等陣。Okay, so when the government buy bonds, okay, when the government buy bonds from the public， 當政府咧去買翻贖翻一啲債券嘅時候咧 ，so the money flow to the public， 咁啲錢咪會流咗去個市民大眾度咯，因為政府買啊嘛，政府買嘢啲錢咪流咗過去咯。咁調翻轉啦，咩情況下啲錢會去翻政府嗰度啊？就係 when the government sell bonds to the general public， 當政府賣啲債券俾市民大眾嘅時候 ，OK， 當政府賣一啲債券俾市民大眾嘅時候，啲錢咪流翻去政府度咯。咁呢個就係我哋講緊嘅 open market operation， 因為政府嘅錢咧係唔屬於 money supply 嘅一部分。政府嘅錢咧喺香港係一個外匯基金，外匯基金因為唔係可以 for spending 嘅，咁所以外匯基金係唔屬於 money supply。咁但係如果政府用咗外匯基金嚟買嘢嘅話咧，買咗啲 bonds 嘅咧，咁就會流咗去個市民大眾度啦。咁個 money supply 咪會增加咯。咁所以政府買嘢嘅時候，其實個 public 嘅 money supply 係會增加咗嘅。咁調翻轉，如果政府賣 bonds， 啲錢就流翻去政府度，咁個市場嘅 money supply 就會減少啦。咁呢個就為之 open market operations。Okay, so that's why we would like to say when the government would like to execute the expansionary monetary policy, the government has to buy bonds, okay, through the central bank. 邊個去做呢個操作啊？由中央銀行去做咯。So the central bank will buy bonds, okay, from the commercial bank or from the general public. So when they buy the bonds, when the government buy the bonds, then there will be more money in the banking system. 咁啲錢頭先我哋講係咪啊？啲錢就會流咗去個 general public 嗰度啦。咁啊，當政府買嘅時候，啲錢就會流咗去個 general public。咁變咗我哋整體個銀行嘅儲備金咪多咗咯。有儲備金，我哋咪可以借錢出街咯。借錢出街咪 deposit creation 咯。deposit creation 咪可以增加到 money supply， 然後又係一連串個 effect 咯。咁調翻轉啦 ，so when the central bank sell bonds， 當 central banks 賣債券嘅時候，啲錢就會流咗去政府度咯噃，流咗去 central bank， 流咗去政府度啦。咁我哋嘅 bank reserve 就少咗啦 ，because we spend the money to buy the bonds。個市場用咗啲錢向政府買咗啲債券啊嘛。咁所以當 central bank 賣嘢嘅時候，市場就會少咗錢。當市場少咗錢嘅時候咧，咁我哋就會少咗 loan 啦，少咗 loan 咧就會少咗 deposit creation 噶咯喎。Okay, so altogether there are 4 tools。咁4個 tools 都係政府可以用嘅。咁即係話，譬如如果嚟緊政府發覺，香港個經濟唔好喎，想去 stimulate， 想去刺激喎，咁佢可以做啲咩嘢啊？一係就喺個市場度買債券啦，係咪啊？喺個市場度買債券，咁佢買嘅時候啲錢咧就會喺政府個庫房度釋放咗落個市場度啦，係咪？政府可以買債券啦，政府可以減息啦 ，OK， 可以減個貼現率啦，亦都可以減個息率啦。OK， 咁另外政府亦都可以做嘅咧，就係可以減低個儲備金率。咁呢個香港我哋好少用，因為其實儲備金率係影響到個貨幣供應，但係同時間亦都影響到嗰個銀行嗰個金融體系個健全性。咁所以你極少聽到香港會講減準備金率，係啦。咁大部分時間係用第二同埋第3個會比較多一啲。好，咁講晒啦喎呢課。少少難啊，又未難到完全明唔到嘅嗬，係咪？好，咁我哋會開新個課咯噃，講埋最後尾個課咯喎。我哋講啲容易啲嘅先，好冇？我哋學啲容易啲嚇。So how about we start with the inflation and deflation? So we will start with topic 11 boy. Okay, topic 11 boy, inflation and deflation. 我哋由11B 開始好嘛？11B inflation and deflation 呢度比較簡單一啲。Okay, so what are you required to learn here is mainly some calculations. So I wait for a while in case you need to get your lecture notes. Okay, so in the topic 10B here, we talk about inflation and deflation, and it is about the change in price level. Okay, so it is the change in price level in the society. So inflation, it means the price level keep on increasing. 如果我哋嗰個貨品嘅價格，整體嘅價格水平係持續增加咧，呢個我哋就叫 inflation， 就係我哋講嘅通脹啦。So when the price level keep on decreasing, then it is what we call deflation. Deflation 就係通縮，通縮咧就係嗰個價格嘅水平咧係持續下降。So the focus of this topic is we want to have an observation, okay, have a track on the changes in price level. So one of the way to do it is we can calculate the consumer price index. Consumer price index 咧就係消費物價指數，消費物價指數。So it said it is a measure of the average price, okay, paid by the urban consumers for a fixed market basket of consumer goods and services. Okay, so there are 3 elements altogether in this definition. So now let's take a look of the fixed market basket of consumer goods and services. So this is the step 1 to develop the consumer price index. 當我哋咧要去計個貨物消費物價指數咧，首先第一樣嘢咧，我哋就要揾一個 market basket， 我哋要裝下咧一個 consumer 佢個購物籃入邊究竟裝咗啲乜嘢 goods and services。咁即係話，其實我哋第一樣嘢要知道，究竟我哋嘅社會裏邊嘅市民大眾，佢主要買啲乜嘢嘅貨品同埋服務咧？所以我哋叫做 market basket means we take a look of the basket and take a look what kind of goods and services do they buy? So the way to do it is the government can conduct a survey and ask the consumer what do they buy and how many do they buy. 咁呢個咧，我哋會問下佢喎 ，what do they buy？ 佢哋買啲乜 ？and how many 同埋買幾多？兩樣我哋都會問。OK， 咁啊，點解叫做 fixed 咧 ？fixed 係固定，固定嘅意思咧，其實我哋會揾一年叫做 base year， 揾一年基礎年去到計。咁當我哋做 survey 嘅時候咧，我哋就係 survey in the base year， 我哋就會喺嗰個基礎年嗰度做呢一個 survey。咁啊，譬如假設我哋係2005年係個 base year， 我哋會2005年問下佢究竟你用嗰個 total cost， 你究竟用幾多錢可以買齊呢個餸籃嘅嘢啊 ？That's why 我哋話我哋會計個 average price， 平均你要用幾多錢買齊呢個餸籃嘅嘢啊？我哋喺2005年我哋會計一次。然後咧，2006年咧，我哋又會計喎個 total cost of buying the fixed market basket。你買齊呢個餸籃嘅嘢，去到2006年有幾多錢啊？嗱，因為我哋要 facilitate 嗰個comparison of price change， 因為你嘅 interest 淨係個 price change， 我淨係有興趣知道個價錢變咗幾多啫嘛。咁你點樣 ensure 咧？你個 comparison 淨係反映緊個 price change 咧？我哋就要一個 fixed market basket， 一個固定嘅 market basket， 即係05年買緊嘅嘢，當你喺06年買同樣嘅數量、同樣嘅貨品，去到06年要買幾多錢？咁所以點解我哋話係一個 fixed market basket， 一個固定嘅貨物籃咧？就係我哋講緊同樣嘅貨品、同樣嘅數量。我哋唯一想睇嘅就係個價格改變咗幾多，價格改變咗幾多。咁啊，睇下香港做例子咯噃。香港咧政府咧都有做過 statistics 啦。咁啊，睇下香港個 fixed market basket 有啲乜嘢嚇。咁啊，香港個 fixed market basket 咧，我哋包括咗有食品啦。咁啊，你見到呢度右邊有個 weight，OK， 個 weight 咧就係代表緊咧我哋買嘅數量個比例，即係話如果我哋買100件貨品裏邊，有幾多嘅比例係買緊呢一樣嘢咧？咁即係話我哋嘅消費裏邊咧有27.29% 咧就係買緊食品嘅。咁啊，呢個係2019年嘅數嚟嘅，都好新嘅數字嚟嘅。咁啊，食品裏邊我哋包括啲乜嘢啊？譬如我哋會包括咗外出用膳啦、rice 啦、米啦、cereal 啦、bread and cakes and biscuits 啦。咁啊，分得好清楚嘅鹹水魚啦、淡水魚啦、其他嘅海產啦、海味啦、豬肉啦、牛肉啦。OK， 咁啊好得意喎！原來我哋真係食豬肉多啲喎。豬肉咧嗰個 weight 係1.08，牛肉個 weight 係0.21嘅啫喎。OK， 咁啊都幾有趣嘅嗬，呢個 weight 都話。都係聽我哋買嘅 quantity， 原來我哋買豬肉嘅量咧係比牛肉嘅量係多。咁啊，除咗食物之外咧，我哋仲有乜嘢咧？我哋入邊仲有住屋啦，你個 rent 啦、management fees 啦、maintenance 啦。OK，utilities、electricities、town gas，OK，petroleum gas and water and sewage。污水啊、排污費啊、水費啊、電費啊，全部都喺晒入邊嘅喎。煙酒啦，仲有咧。clothing 我哋嘅衣物喎，外邊嘅、內邊嘅、鞋嘅，全部都有嘅喎。durable，OK， 我哋嘅電腦啊、手錶啊、家私啊，就係屬於 durable goods 啫。或者啲 miscellaneous goods 啊、藥物啊、報紙啊都有嘅。咁另外仲有 magazines 啦、books 啦、stationery 啦，係咪啊 ？cosmetics 啦、化妝品啦、textbook 啦，你最中意嘅 textbook 喺呢一度啦，係咪啊 ？jewelries 啦、transportations 啦。OK， 咁佢會列晒一個住喺市區嘅人。OK， 嗱佢講到明係市區，咁香港我哋就冇特別分。但係如果喺美國或者一啲中國一啲大嘅國家咧，當我哋講 consumer price index 嘅時候，其實我哋主要就係講 urban consumers。個原因就係 urban consumer 嘅 spending pattern 咧，可以同rural area 嘅 consumer 好唔同。咁啊，為咗令到我哋嗰個分析係嚟得精準啲、準確啲咧，我哋嘅 focus 就喺個 urban consumer。我哋就會睇下佢買齊呢一啲佢需要嘅嘢，究竟佢要用幾多錢 ？OK， 呢個就係 consumer price index 嗰個意思，個意義就係咁樣啦。 Okay, so that's why we say the first step is we identify a fixed market basket of consumer goods and services. So after that, we calculate the average price that the consumer pay for it, so that we can use it for making comparison. 咁我哋知道平均啲顧客使幾多錢嚟買啲藍貨品嘅時候咧，咁我哋咪就可以計下去比較下，究竟佢係比個價錢係高咗啊，定係比個價錢係低咗，去 reflect 究竟有冇 inflation 或者 deflation 啦。好啦，咁我哋睇下個例子咯，睇下個 example 咯，喺後邊呢一頁嗰度。Okay, so in this example, we have 2005 and 2012. And in this example, the 2005 is the base year. 2005年就係個基礎年啦，喺呢度。Okay, so we have the fixed market basket. So this is the fixed market basket. 我哋頭先話要首先揾到個 fixed market basket。咁喺呢個社會裏邊咧，我哋發覺咧，我哋生活好簡單嘅啫。我哋需要兩個 items 啫，就係 orange 同埋 haircut 噶啦。咁我哋就生存到啦。咁要10個橙加剪5次頭髮1年。Okay, so after we identify the fixed market price, we calculate how much we have to pay for it. Okay, in 2005. 咁05年買齊呢個籃要幾多錢啊？咁呢個我哋叫 cost of CPI market basket. Okay, 咁就係你嘅成本價啦。你買齊呢個籃嘅成本價係幾多錢？So to buy the 10 orange, it is $1 each, so the total amount is $10. For the haircut, $8 each, so the total amount spent on haircut is $40. So the total is $50. Okay, so it is the step 1. The step 1 here is we calculate the cost of CPI basket at the base year. 我哋計下基礎年嗰個嘅 market basket 嘅成本係幾多？原來買齊呢個餸籃咧，我哋喺2005年咧係要50蚊嘅。Okay, and then we do the calculation. The second calculation is we calculate the cost of CPI basket, okay, for 2012. So it is the cost of CPI basket for the current year. 咁假設今年係2012年，咁我哋今年嘅 cost 係幾多啊？咁你見到呢度唔變嘅喎，記住喎，係 fixed market basket。我哋同樣嘅數量，同樣嘅貨品。Okay, but the only change is this time we are not using the pre of 2005. We are using the price of 2012. 今次個計算唯一唔同嘅地方就係我哋用緊2012年嘅價格去到計，因為我哋要計嘅咧就係如果我要喺2012年買齊呢個籃，咁究竟要幾多錢 ？So for the orange, we have to spend 20. For the haircut, we have to spend 50. So the total amount that you have to spend to buy the market basket is 70. Okay, so it is what we call the cost of CPI market basket at the current period. 今年要買齊呢個籃要70蚊咯，咁好明顯係貴咗啦，係咪啊？之前係50，而家係70，咁好明顯個 price level 一定係 increase 咗，一定係加咗價㗎啦。咁加咗幾多咧？咁我哋咧就會用一個 CPI，OK， 有個 CPI 嘅概念去到計。咁記住呢度我哋有兩個 calculation， 第一個係計個 cost of CPI， 第二個係個 CPI。Okay, consumer price index is using the cost of CPI basket at the current year divided by the cost of CPI at the base year and times 100。我哋用今年究竟用幾多錢可以買得齊嗰啲貨物，除以 base year 要用幾多錢，乘翻100。咁所以喺2005年比特別嘅，05年咧 current year 咪就係05年咯 ，base year 都係05年。咁既然 current year 等於 base year， 即係佢自己除自己啦，咁所以計出嚟個 index 咧係等於100。咁其實所有嘅 index 咧，佢嘅 starting point 咧都係 base year。咁所以其實所有嘅 index 嘅 starting point 都係100嘅，好似恒生指數啦，我哋而家數到2萬幾點係咪？其實恒生指數都係由100開始數上嚟。咁你可以睇到個升幅係好犀利，係咪？由100數到2萬幾。OK， 升咗2萬幾點係好犀利。其實一開始都係由100開始計。好啦，2012年啦， 2012年嘅 CPI， 我哋咪用2012年嘅 cost of market basket 除翻 base year， 即係05年嗰個 cost of market basket 咯。所以70蚊除50蚊乘翻100就等於140。OK， 咁啊，我哋就知道啦。比 base year 升咗40點啦，比 base year 升咗40點咪即係40% 咯。Okay, so this is the second calculation. We compare the two costs so that we can identify an index. 咁個 index 就可以話到俾你聽嗰個趨勢係點咯，一路向上定一路向下咯，對比起個 base 啊。好啦，咁啊呢個第二個計算計個 CPI 咯噃。咁我哋睇下第三個計算咯。So the third calculation is an inflation rate. So we can put it in a percentage. We calculate the percentage change, okay, from one year to another year. So here the inflation rate is we can use the CPI in current year minus the CPI in the previous and divide it by CPI in the previous. 咁其實呢個概念咪就係新減舊除舊嗰個概念啫嘛。我哋計緊個 percentage change 嘛。OK， 咁我哋計出嚟，如果佢係一個增加嘅 ，OK， so if the inflation rate is positive, then we would like to say it is an inflation. So inflation means there is a sustained increase in the general price level. 如果貨物嘅價格持續上升，咁呢個就係 inflation 通脹啦。Deflation 通縮啦，如果係 price level is falling， 如果個價格嘅水平持續下跌，咁即係話如果 inflation rate 係一個負數，係一個 negative figure， 咁呢個我哋就係叫做 deflation。Okay, so let's take a look of the example we have. Example 1. So based on the previous data and assume that the CPI for 2011 is 120. So the previous data is the CPI in 2012 is 140. So we use the current data minus the previous data and divide by the previous. 新減舊除舊，新係140，減舊120，除120，乘翻100%。咁啊 ，CPI 由120升到140，好明顯呢個係一個 inflation 啦，一個通脹啦，係咪？咁啊，通脹係加咗幾多啊？就加咗16.7% 啦。咁即係話，如果你喺2011年用100蚊買到嘅嘢咧，去到2012年咧，你要俾116.7先至買到啦。100蚊嘅嘢就變成116.7。所有嘅價格，所有嘅貨物平均地咧，佢嘅價錢係增加咗6.7%. Okay, so it is a positive figures. When it is a positive figures, it shows you that it's an increase in price. 當佢係一個正數，咁其實佢就係一個物價水平嘅增加啦。Okay, so take a look of the second example. In 2009, okay, so the index is 214.8. In 2008, the index is 219.1. So we use the current figures minus the previous figure and divide it by the previous. 一樣啦，係咪啊？sorry 啊，調翻轉先。前邊係2009。So we use this is the current, this is the previous. Okay, we use the current figure minus the previous and divide by the previous. 新減舊除舊乘100%. So what can we have is a negative 2%. It is a negative 2%. 負啦 Okay, so when it is a negative figures, it means it is a deflation. So you see that the CPI decreased. 你屋企嘅 CPI 係跌咗啦，係咪啊？由219.1跌到去214.8，即係平均嘅物價咧就降低咗2%。喺2008年用100蚊買嘅嘢咧，去到今年咧98蚊就買到啦，平咗2%啦。好，咁啊，你見到個運算其實唔係好複雜嘅，咁啊，你哋試下做一次咯噃。我哋睇去 slide number 5。Okay, so we have a checkpoint exercise on slide number 5. So here we got the figures in Russia. And these are the figures of 2005, 2006, and 2007. So you have to calculate the inflation rate in 2006 and calculate the inflation rate in 2007. Okay, so I give you 2 minutes for the calculation. 好，試下計下先，計下睇下你計到嗰個嘅 inflation rate 係幾多先嚇。計到幾多啊？有冇人打出嚟啊？9.5、8.22係咪啊？其他人計到係咪？9.5、8.22，4萬啊！好，係啦，咁我哋其實係比較緊2006年就比較緊呢2年嘅 CPI。OK， 咁我哋用新減舊除舊係咪啊？新減舊嗱 ，index 咧就最好噶啦 ，index 係冇 unit 嘅嚇，恒生指數都係緊幾多點嘅啫，咁所以係冇 unit 嘅。咁啊，唔好擺咗 dollar sign， 亦都唔好擺任何嘅 unit 俾佢喎。新減舊除舊乘100%。OK， 呢度計到係9.5%。係啦，新減舊除舊乘100%。咁啊，記住呢個 rate 喎 ，rate 一定係 percentage 嚟喎，比率。好啦 ，inflation rate in 2007啊，咁啊2007年咧，咁我哋就比較呢兩個數啦。OK 啦，記住咧，頭先個班咧有啲同學咧就比較咗237同200，咁啊唔會嘅喎 ，inflation rate 咧係一個 annual rate 嚟嘅，係一個每年咧我哋會計嘅一個數嚟嘅。咁啊，我哋每一次講個 inflation rate 咧都係同舊年去比較嘅。OK， 咁所以咧，除非佢特別話同某一年去比較嘅啫，如果唔係咧，我哋都係計一個 annual 嘅 inflation rate。咁所以呢度係237減219除翻219乘翻100%。咁所以呢度咧，有同學計到8.22係咪啊？係啦，咁啊8.22或者你寫8.2都可以。Okay, so to the calculation, take a look of the third bullet point. Okay, so whether the price level increased or decreased, and whether the inflation rate increased or decreased. 究竟個貨物價水平係高咗定低咗？咁而個通脹率係升咗定係跌咗咧？好 ，price level 係咪 increase 係咪 price level increase. Okay, so we would like to say the price level increase. Okay, price level increased 嗰個嘅物價水平增加咗啦。咁啊，點解增加咗啊？因為我哋而家係8.2%， 8.2% 啫嘛。係咪喺07年嘅時候係8.2%？咁所以咧8.2% 就係大過0啊嘛，係咪啊？又或者你可以講237係大過219啊嘛。我哋今年要用多啲錢先可以買得齊同一籃嘅貨品啊嘛。咁所以個原因就係嗰個 CPI 增加咗啦。又或者你可以講咧，因為嗰個 inflation rate 係一個 positive figure。咁啊，呢兩個其中一個 justifications 咧，都可以幫你解釋到點解我哋話個 price level 增加。 係啦 ，inflation rate 係減少係咪啊？咁啊 ，inflation rate 通脹率減少，咁我哋其實而家就係比較緊嗰個8.2%同埋9.5%啫，8.2%就係今年嘅數啦，比起舊年嘅數，我哋係細咗嘅。OK， 即係話舊年咧平均咧嘅物品咧係貴咗9.5%，但係今年平均咧我哋嘅物品咧就貴咗8.2%。OK， 咁呢個為之 inflation rate decreased。咁所以你會發覺呢課咧啲計算唔難嘅，小心啲就可以噶啦。咁啊，過往同學攞分都攞得幾好啊呢度。好，咁我哋講埋咧前邊嗰張 slide 啦，跟住我哋就休息一陣間啦。好啦，嗱呢度咧我哋會講另一個 index， 我哋叫 GDP Price Index。Okay, so it is another way to identify the change in price level。我哋都係講緊 change in price level， 一樣講緊 inflation、deflation， 一樣講緊 change in price level。But we are using different calculation. So this time we use the GDP Price Index. Oops， 我唔係想查咗佢㗎。Okay, so this time we calculate the GDP Price Index. So we are still calculating the average current price. 我哋都係一樣計緊你用緊幾多錢去買嘢，不過唔係講緊個 consumer 嘅 market basket。我哋頭先講緊嘅係你去街市買啲乜嘢，係一個 consumer 要用嘅嘢。我哋今次講緊呢係 all goods and services。我哋講緊係包括所有嘅貨物同埋服務。OK， 咁啊 ，whenever 咧嗰個 goods and services 咧 are included in GDP calculation， 咁佢就會包括咗喺嗰個 GDP 入邊，係咪啊？咁佢就會用咗嚟計個 GDP index。咁個 GDP index 咧係點樣去 measure， 點樣去量度個價格嘅水平？咁我哋計算嘅方法咧就係用 nominal 嘅 GDP 除 real 嘅 GDP 乘100。咁點解會係咁樣計咧？呢個計法係咩意思咧 ？nominal 乘 real 嘅 GDP。咁啊，我哋又用一個例子咯噃。嗱，咁如果你仲記得我哋當時咧講嘅時候，譬如我哋講緊年份啦，呢度係有2017、2018、2019年。OK， 咁2017就係我哋嘅 base year 啦嘅基礎年啦。咁跟住我哋當時計咧，我哋有 P 啦，有 Q 啦，係咪？咁啊，我哋嗰陣時有學過點樣去計個 nominal 嘅 GDP， 同埋點樣計個 real 嘅 GDP 嘅。咁啊，如果你唔記得咗唔緊要嘅，我而家話翻俾你聽下。咁我哋話點為之 nominal 嘅 GDP 啊 ？nominal 係面值，面值即係話當我哋計嗰年嘅 GDP 嘅時候咧，我用翻嗰年嘅價錢乘翻嗰一年嘅生產嘅數量嚟到計。咁所以如果你係計2017年嘅 nominal GDP 咧，就用2017年嘅價錢乘2017年嘅貨品數量。我哋用 market value 啊嘛，係咪啊 ？market value of all goods and services produced 啊嘛。咁所以我哋計個 nominal 嘅 GDP 係咁樣計。好啦，2018年啦，2018年嘅 P 乘翻2018年嘅 Q， 咪計到2018年嘅 nominal 嘅 GDP 咯。同樣地，2019年嘅 P 乘翻2019年嘅 Q， 咪計到2019年嘅 nominal 嘅 GDP 咯。咁不過我哋就話nominal 嘅 GDP 嘅升幅咧，包含咗價錢嘅改變同埋 quantity 嘅改變。咁我哋可唔可以 remove the effect of price change 啊？我哋可唔可以撇除價格嘅改變，去睇下我哋真真正正個 production 改變咗幾多啊？我淨係想睇嗰一年嘅 production 咋，嗰一年嘅 Q， 個 Q 先係我最想去比較㗎。我想睇我哋個 production 係增加咗，因為我哋 production 增加咗先係個 national income 真真正正咁上升啊嘛。咁所以當時我哋講嘅 real GDP， 我哋就係 remove the effect of price change， 我哋係 freeze the price at the base year， 我哋將個價錢咧 冷凍咗，凝住咗喺嗰個嘅 base 嗰度。咁所以你無論計邊一年嘅 real GDP， 我都係用緊2017年嘅 price 去到計。咁我哋話咁樣計出嚟嘅 real GDP 咪公平咯？你咁樣計嘅 real GDP 咪真係淨係比較緊個 quantity， 比較緊個 production 咯。咁所以當時我哋學咗 real GDP 係咁計，就係 freeze the price change， 凍結咗價格嘅改變。好啦，咁我哋溫完究竟咩叫做 nominal GDP， 咩叫做 real GDP， 咁我哋而家就可以諗下，究竟點解我哋可以用佢嚟 reflect 個 price level 啦。So according to your lecture notes, how can we calculate the GDP price index? 我哋個 GDP price index 係點樣計啊？ Okay, we use the nominal GDP divided by the real GDP. 我哋用個 nominal 嘅 GDP 除翻個 real 嘅 GDP 乘翻100。咁啊，我哋攞其中一年嚟做例子，我哋用2018年做例子。如果我用2018年做例子 ，nominal 嘅 GDP 咪2018年嘅價錢乘以2018年嘅 Q。2018年嘅 real GDP 咪2017年嘅價錢乘以2018年嘅 Q， 係咪？我抄落嚟嘅咋，我將個分子同嘅分母各自抄咗落嚟啫。咁而家你睇到，其實我哋比較緊係咩啊？大家都係2018年嘅 Q， 你而家 compare 緊咪2018年嘅物價水平同埋2017年嘅物價水平。咁所以點解可以用 nominal GDP 同 real GDP 嚟到去計個 GDP price index？ 就係因為其實佢哋就係用緊兩年唔同嘅物價水平去到計嘅 GDP。咁所以當你去 compare 佢哋嘅時候，其實 what are you comparing? You are comparing the price level in 2 different years。你其實就係比較緊兩年嘅價格水平啦。個原因就係 real GDP 係 freeze 咗嗰個 price change 啊。sorry 係啦 ，freeze 咗 price change， 去令到個價錢唔改變啊嘛 ，real GDP。好，咁啊 ，that's why 點解我哋可以用呢一個方法去計一個 price change？ 咁你而家譬如計出嚟，你會發覺如果大過100嘅呢個數，如果大過100嘅，咁咪即係18年嘅價格高過17年嘅價格咯。如果呢個數係細過100嘅，咁咪即係分母大啲咯，分母大啲即係17年嘅價格大啲咯。OK， 咁啊，我哋比較緊邊一年個價格大啲啫嘛，只不過喺度。咁同樣地啦，當如果你有2年嘅 price index，OK，so when you have the price index， when you have the GPI price index of 2 years。When you have the GPI price index for 2 years, you can calculate the percentage change, and then that is the inflation rate. 咁啊，我哋都係有2年嘅 GDP price index， 你咪照計個 percentage change 咯，新減舊除舊乘100%都可以計到個 inflation rate。咁即係話我哋而家有2個途徑去計，你可以用 CPI 去到計 inflation， 亦都可以用個 GDP price index 去計個 inflation。OK， 咁但係我哋發覺點解我哋有2個唔同嘅 index 去到做咧？個原因就係呢2個 index 咧，其實有啲分別嘅。Okay, so the first difference is the GDP price index use the price of all goods and services newly produced in the GDP, newly produced in the country。嗱，記住 GDP 我哋嘅計算裏邊咧，我哋話計嘅係 market price of all newly produced goods and services in the country within the time frame。喺嗰年喺個國家裏邊新生產嘅final goods and final services 嘅市值，我哋就計。咁所以只要係今年生產嘅 final goods and final service， 全部我哋都會計。咁但係 CPI 有少少唔同。CPI 我哋頭先講過係咩啊？係個 consumer 嘅 market basket 啫，係咪啊 ？market basket 即係話啲 consumer 會買嘅嘢先計嘅噃。OK， 唔係 consumer 買嘅嘢係唔計嘅喎。咁所以我哋基本上淨係計 C 嘅啫。OK， 呢度我哋有 C 有 I 有 G 有 NX， 但係我哋咧 CPI 入邊基本上就係計 C 嘅啫，仲要係某一啲 C 嘅啫，唔係所有 C 添，係咪啊？我哋喺個 survey 度冇 include 到嘅 market basket 嘅嘢就冇噶啦噃。咁譬如手機套咁先算啦，手機套我哋喺嗰個 CPI 入邊個 list 入邊冇嘅，咁但係喺 GDP 入邊會有噶嘛。咁所以佢 include 嘅 goods 係唔同嘅，包含嘅貨品係唔同嘅，呢個係第一個 difference。OK，the second difference is about the weight 個比重啦。我哋頭先講個比重其實真係講緊個 Q， 個 Q 係個比重。咁啊 GDP 咧，我哋用個比重咧係用 current quantity。OK，current quantity 個比重用翻頭先我哋啱啱個例子，當我哋計緊2018年個 GDP price index 嘅時候，呢個 Q 個比重咪就係2018年。咁所以我哋用緊個 Q 嗰個比重咧係新嘅，最新嗰個比重。咁但係 consumer price index 有啲唔同啦。consumer price index 咧，我哋用嘅咧就係一啲 past 嘅 consumer expenditure surveys at the base year。我哋頭先講咗，我哋係用 base year 嗰個 survey， 究竟你個籃買乜嘢，同埋買幾多件啊嘛。咁所以個比重咧係有少少唔同嘅。咁所以咧兩個數計出嚟係會有啲唔同嘅 GDP price index 同埋個 consumer price index 係唔同嘅，係啦。進口貨都計啊，係啊，進口貨減翻出嚟咁樣，進口貨我哋減翻出嚟。咁啊，出口貨計反而係出口貨計。咁啊 ，consumer price index 反而計進口貨咯，係咪啊 ？consumer price index 我哋會計進口貨咯，因為我哋計你買噶嘛，我唔理佢進口定係出口嘛。咁所以佢計嘅貨唔同，佢嘅比重唔同，兩個數計出嚟嗰個數都會唔同。咁但係通常政府會比較關心邊一個咧？我哋通常比較關心就係 consumer price index， 因為呢個係直接影響緊民生，影響緊你日常嘅生活。咁啊，所以呢一個就係嗰個唔同嘅地方啦。好，咁啊 inflation 唔係好複雜啫，我哋就係講咁多啫。咁我哋 take a break 好冇？我哋 take a break。咁啊，大約四十幾分好，44分啦，係44分，我哋繼續啦，好冇？好，同學要 page 2係咪？冇問題，呢度係個 page 2。OK， 咁我哋45分好冇？我哋44分好嘛？44分，咁我哋就會講埋最後尾嗰課 unemployment 啦。第一頁邊度？ 好，咁啊頭先啱同我問啦，咁 CPI 好啲啊，定係 price index 好啲咧？咁我哋就唔會去 compare 佢咧係邊個好定唔好，因為其實唔係在於邊個好同埋唔好，我哋需要有兩個數嘅存在，就係兩個數反映緊嘅狀況有啲唔同。咁好多時我哋講物價水平，其實我哋就講緊個市民嘅負擔能力。究竟嗰個市民嘅負擔能力係唔係可以應付到個物價嘅升幅咧？咁所以好多時 consumer price index 咧係政府攞嚟睇下需唔需要增加一啲譬如綜援金額需唔需要增加啦？如果嗰個 consumer price index 增加咗5%，咁即係話我哋平均啲嘢貴咗5%，咁好可能綜援嘅金額都要增加5%。咁啊，個 consumer price index 亦都會影響到，譬如好多公司加人工，其實都係參考緊 consumer price index。咁啊，譬如如果嗰個平均嗰個消費嗰個物價水平係增加咗3%，咁我哋話你公司加人工最少你要加3%先可以 cover 到嗰個物價嘅升幅。咁所以其實要視乎你個 consideration。你個 purpose 係啲乜嘢？如果你 consider 緊一個人嘅 purchasing power 嘅購買力嘅話咧，我哋就會睇 consumer price index。咁但係如果你係想睇下成個國家嘅物價水平嘅改變嘅話咧，咁我哋就話 GDP price index 就 more complete， 就比較完整一啲啦。佢唔係淨係考慮 consumer， 佢考慮埋 government 同埋 business。咁所以如果你係想考慮成個國家整體嘅價格水平，唔係淨係考慮個 consumer 嘅購買力嘅話咧，咁我哋就會睇 GDP 嘅price index 啦。咁所以其實睇下你個 objective， 你個 purpose 係啲乜嘢，嚟到去釐定究竟你應該睇邊一個。咁即係話，如果你係個 employer 嘅話咧，應該當你講生產嘅時候咧，你會睇 GDP price index 啦。當你睇人工究竟加唔加人工俾你嘅員工嘅時候，可能你要參考 consumer price index。好啦，咁啊，我哋嚟到最後一課啦噃。咁啊，你發覺最後尾呢兩課咧，其實都唔係太難嘅，應該應付得到嘅。Okay, so the last one that we are going to cover is the jobs and unemployment. Okay, so first of all, we will take a look of a number of terms. Okay, we will take a look at a number of terms. So the first term that we should 即係從 different angle 去睇，係啊，由唔同嘅 angle 去睇，所以我哋會計唔同嘅數咯。好，咁啊，第一個係 working age population. Okay, so what is the meaning of working age population? So whenever you are in the age of 15 to 64, 只要你係15至64歲 ，okay, and then you are not in jail, in hospital or in other form of institutional care in Hong Kong， 你唔係坐監，你唔喺監獄入邊，你唔係長期住醫院，亦都唔係長期住喺一啲 institutional care。institutional care 譬如一啲嘅精神病院啦、康復中心啦，或者老人院啦，咁呢啲都為之一啲institutional care 嘅地方。Okay, so if you are in this age range and are not in these facilities, then you are included in the working age population. So I can use a diagram to show you what does it mean by the working age population. Oops. So here we got a total population, and the total population in Hong Kong is almost 800 millions, right? Not 800 million, 8 millions, 8 millions， 好似差唔多800萬啦，係咪？已經差唔多去到800萬，係咪？咁啊，我哋呢個 total populations 裏邊咧，我哋可以將我哋咧定為兩類人，兩部分嘅人。OK， 一部分咧，我哋就叫做係 working age population， 一個適齡工作嘅人口。咁即係話頭先講嘅，如果你係15至64歲，又唔係喺監獄入邊，又唔係喺醫院入邊，又唔係喺療養院入邊嘅話咧，你就係屬於 working age population。如果你低過15歲，年紀大過64歲，又或者你長期住院，或者你係要留喺監獄入邊嘅話咧，咁你就係一個 non-working age population， 你就係非勞動人口啦。 非適啊，雖然唔係勞動，非適齡嘅工作人口啦。咁所以如果鑑於呢一個 classifications 啦，你哋啦同埋我咧，全部都應該喺左邊啦，係咪啊？我哋而家全部都喺右邊，就係喺適齡嘅工作人口裏邊。OK， 呢個為之 working age populations。OK， 咁啊，所以而家呢邊，譬如你 example 你係 in jail 嘅，或者你係14 years old 嘅，咁啊，你就會喺右手邊啦。好啦，咁啊，除咗呢個 classifications 之外咧，另一個咧，我哋就話跟住落嚟咧，我哋就有分 labour force and not in the labour force。So who are in the labour force? If you are an active job seeker, okay, if you are an active job seeker, then you are in the labour force。高過64歲仲做緊嘢咧，高過64歲咧，其實我哋都計佢係 non-working age population 嘅。OK， 咁啊，但係佢做緊嘢會點計咧？一陣間咧，我哋會再翻轉頭答你呢個問題嚇。咁啊，我哋好普遍啦，香港係咪高過64歲都仲做緊嘢？我爸爸都係咁樣。好啊，咁啊，我哋話呢個左邊個 working age population， 你15至64歲，係啊，提早退休咁點算咧？係咪所有15至64歲嘅人適齡嘅人口都係翻緊工咧？我哋發覺唔係嘅。我哋發覺當中咧，佢有一部分咧係 in the labour force， 佢哋就喺嗰個嘅勞動人口入邊。In the labour force, it means they are active job seeker， 即係話佢本身真係有做緊嘢嘅，真係打算揾工嘅。咁啊，同學問嘅提早退休咧就喺右邊啦 ，not in the labour force。咁如果佢係提早退休嘅，譬如佢係一個 early retirement 嘅，提早退休嘅，咁佢就喺右邊咯 ，not in the labour force 咯，係咪啊？係啊，冇求職意欲就唔計㗎啦，佢冇求職意欲，佢就係 not in labour force 啦。所以你哋全部咧 full-time students 都係 not in labour force 嘅喎，你哋都冇求職意欲㗎，係咪啊？或者一啲 full-time full-time mom， 一啲留喺屋企湊小朋友嘅媽咪。都係 not in the labour force。OK， 咁所以 labour force 咧就係你喺15至64歲，而你係 active job seeker， 你係打算做嘢嘅。OK， 好啦，咁啊打算做嘢嘅人唔代表所有人都有嘢做嘅嗬。我哋當中有部分咧係 employed， 揾到工嘅，但係當中有部分咧 unemployed， 揾唔到工。OK， 咁啊呢個咧就係我哋一開始咧要學嘅一啲 terms。OK，so you need to know what is a working age population。OK，what is labour force？And then what does it mean by unemployed? So unemployed means you would like to look for a job. OK，but you don't have a job。你想揾工嘅，但我揾唔到啫。OK， 我想揾工，但係揾唔到。好啦，嗱，基於呢個關係圖咧，咁我哋就可以知道究竟應該係點樣計個 unemployment rate 個失業率啦。Okay, so unemployment rate is the number of people unemployed divided by labour force times 100%。咁所以當我哋計個 unemployment rate 嘅時候咧，記住我哋唔係用個 total population 去計，我哋計嘅係呢兩者嘅關係。想揾工嘅人有幾多係揾到工？咁所以當我哋計 unemployment rate 嘅時候咧，你哋作為 full-time students 咧係唔喺入邊嘅 calculations 嘅。或者如果你媽咪佢係全職媽喺屋企湊小朋友咧，佢都係唔計失業嘅。又或者佢係提早退休咧，都唔係失業嘅一部分。點為之失業咧？就係、是、你係 in the labour force but cannot get a job。你係15至64歲，唔係喺醫院，唔係喺監獄，唔係喺一啲照顧嘅場所，而你係有打算揾工嘅，但係揾唔到工，咁你先算係之失業。OK， 記住藍色呢度係嗰個失業。好啦，除咗我哋計嗰個 unemployment rate 之外咧 ，another calculation we can have is the labour force participation rate。呢個我哋叫勞動人口參與率。勞動人口參與率。勞動人口參與率咧，我哋係用 labour force。我哋係用 labour force 除以個 working age populations， 我哋用嗰個勞動人口除翻適齡嘅工作人口。咁即係話，如果擺翻落去頭先我哋呢個關係圖入邊嘅話，我哋計緊嘅咧就係呢部分啦。 究竟我適齡人口裏邊有幾多人係會參與工作？咁所以譬如好似而家你哋咧就屬於 working age population， 但係你冇參與喺個勞動人口，你冇揾工嘅，即係適齡嘅人有幾多人真係願意做嘅嘢嘅咧？咁所以如果你諗下一個國家，佢失業率係好低啊，係咪啊？但係原來佢個勞動人口參與率都好低，平均咧每100個人只有2個人願意做嘢嘅，咁個失業率梗係低啦。咁所以我哋話淨係睇嘅失業率咧，嗰個意義唔夠啊。OK， 我哋要睇埋咁究竟成個人口裏邊有幾多人係喺個 labour force 裏邊咧？如果 majority 嘅人都係 early retirement 嘅，個個都提早退休嘅，咁其實你嗰個 labour force participation rate 係好低。咁所以你可以想像到咧，發展中國家一啲 developing country 咧，佢哋呢個 working age 呢個 labour force participation rate 可以好高，因為佢哋好早出嚟做嘢噶嘛，讀書讀到10歲、12歲就出嚟做嘢噶啦。咁你個勞動人口參與率咪好高咯？譬如好似香港，我哋平均讀到20幾歲先出嚟做嘢嘅，咁你個勞動人口參與率咪會比較低。咁所以好多時我哋想知道個 employment situation 咧，我哋話淨係睇個 unemployment rate 係唔足夠，你要睇下當中有幾多適合做嘢嘅人係願意做嘢。Okay, so the calculation itself is not complicated. You just get the figure and times it by 100%. Okay, but the rationale behind why should you calculate it is what I would like you to understand. 咁啊，個計算唔難嘅，不過你計完出嚟個數代表緊啲乜嘢咧，先係呢度我哋想去掌握噶咯。好啦，咁我哋睇下例子咯喎，我哋有個 practical problem 喺後邊。Okay, so we have the labour force, and then we have the employment figure.Labour force 就係願意揾工嘅人係咪啊？我哋願意揾工嘅人咧有1億5400萬，就業人口有1億4千萬。OK，and the working age population 適齡嘅工作人口，適合做嘢嘅工作人口，即係頭先我哋講16歲至到15歲至到64歲，係咪啊？適合工作嘅人口就係2億3500萬，590萬。Okay, so we have to do 2 calculations. One is we have to calculate the unemployment rate. Another one is we have to calculate the labor force participation rate. So before you can calculate the unemployment rate, you have to identify the number of people who is unemployed. 有幾多人失業啊？呢度失業嘅意思係咩啊？你想揾工，但係揾唔到工。咁啊，有幾多人想揾工啊？154.5個 million。想揾工嘅有154.5個 million， 係啦。咁啊，揾到工嘅人咧就有140 million。咁所以嘅差額一就14.5個 million 啦，就係1450萬人揾唔到工。Okay, unemployment rate， 咁啊失業率係幾多啊？失業率我哋話用失業嘅人數除翻想揾工嘅人，乘翻100%。咁呢度計到咧9.4%，即係平均100個想揾嘢做嘅人咧，9.4個冇嘢做，咁都好高喎。9.4其實好高，好誇張嘅一個比例嚟。咁香港長期其實維持住喺2至3% 左右。咁所以其實香港一上到4或者5咧，大家都有啲驚嘅，因為每100個人裏邊如果有4至5個人冇嘢做咧，其實係幾嚴重嘅。香港嚟到講，因為我哋冇乜社會福利，即係你一冇嘢做，其實冇人幫到你，咁啊唔會有失業救濟金。好啦 ，labour force participation rate 勞動人口參與率啦。勞動人口參與率咧就係我哋個適齡工作人口裏邊有幾多個 percent 嘅人係想做嘢㗎。咁所以呢度我哋就會用個 labour force 勞動人口參與嘅勞動人口，除翻適齡嘅工作人口，再乘翻100%。咁啊，呢度個 labour force participation rate 咧應該係65.5%，即係話每100個適合做嘢嘅人咧，係啦，每100個適合做嘢嘅人咧，有65.5個係揾緊嘅，即係有2/3嘅適齡人口咧，佢哋係參與喺個勞動人口入邊。咁啊，高定低咧，其實要睇下個1/3唔參與嘅人係咩原因嘅。即係譬如，如果你話個1/3大部分唔參與嘅人咧，係因為佢係全職嘅家庭主婦加埋學生嘅話咧，咁所以嗰個理由就幾充分咯。如果個1/3人全部都係提早退休嘅話咧，咁啊其實都幾得人驚㗎，其實。咁所以我哋就可以比較到唔同嘅國家，究竟佢嘅勞動人口參與率嗰個分別喺邊度啦，同埋嗰個 change over time 喺時間以上。香港冇香港應該係70幾啊！我要 search 下最新嘅 data， 但係應該冇80咁多嘅，因為始終都仲有啲學生係啦，始終有啲學生同埋有啲人係唔使做嘢㗎嘛。好啦，咁我哋學完計數之後咧，我哋就學下啦喎。咁究竟失業呢9.4% 嘅人，每100個人有9.4個人冇嘢做，咩原因冇嘢做咧 ？OK， 咩原因冇嘢做咧？咁所以我哋跟住落嚟就會睇咧第2部分啦。Okay, so the second part here is we will take a look of the types of unemployment. Okay, types of unemployment. 而家嘅 labour force 應該多咗，點解啊？點解會多咗 labour force？ 多咗人揾工，原因係咩？啲人由唔揾工變揾工，而家 unemployment 就肯定多咗啦。好啦，咁啊 ，three types of unemployment， 我哋有3類型，即係話一個人失業嘅話咧，佢應該係呢3個原因其中一個。Okay, so the first one is frictional. Frictional 咧，中文佢冇乜意思嘅，中文叫做摩擦性。摩擦性即係你 rub 你隻手，即係你捽你隻手咧，嗰個摩擦性。Okay, so for the frictional unemployment, it is regarded as normal labour turnover， 一個正常嘅員工嘅流失，一個正常嘅勞工嘅轉變。Okay, so turnover 就係離職啦 ，turnover 就係離職啦嚇。咁啊，點解我哋為之一個正常嘅離職咧？ So there are 2 changes that we can observe from day in and day out. The first one is we will have people entering and leaving the labour force. Okay, so there will be, for example, there will be graduate. When you graduate from your associate degree program or when you graduate from your degree program, then you become a new member in the labour force. 當你畢業嘅時候，你咪加入咗 labour force 咯，係咪啊？你諗下喺個 labour force 入邊，你哋而家係 not in the labour force 噶嘛？你哋而家就喺 not in the labour force 呢度 ，OK，not in the labour force， 因為你哋係 full time students 啊嘛。咁你諗下，當你畢業嘅時候，其實你咪由 not in the labour force 轉咗去 labour force 咯。咁當你轉嘅時候，你今日轉唔會你即日揾到工噶嘛？通常畢業之後，可能你要半個月、1個月、2個月先揾到工噶嘛。咁所以你呢半個月、1個月嘅失業係一個好正常嘅現象嚟噶嘛，係咪啊？咁 that's why 我哋話呢啲我哋叫做 normal 嘅 labour turnover。It is a normal situation. It is a normal phenomenon。一個好正常嘅現象。Okay, so there will be new people join the labour force, and then they will be unemployed temporarily. 咁佢哋呢班人就會係 unemployed。But just temporarily， 你好短暫性地 unemployed 嘅啫 ，because you are looking for a new job. Okay, and then there will be ongoing creation and destruction of jobs. So ongoing creation and destruction of jobs means we may have new jobs, and at the same time there may be some old jobs died. 我哋工作會有轉變㗎嘛，我哋嘅工種會有轉變。譬如而家我哋嘅 secretary 秘書嘅 position。秘書嘅職位越嚟越少啦，係咪？使乜秘書即係唔使秘書啦。而家你好多時人哋好似我哋而家咁樣開一個 team meeting， 我哋 send 個 invitation 俾你，你一 click accept， 佢就幫你抌埋落去個 calendar 嗰度啦。你都唔使秘書去提你，個電腦識得 prompt 你啦。 OK， 電腦識得幫你話俾你聽，究竟有冇schedule conflict 啦，係咪啊？咁所以其實我哋個 secretary 嘅 position 係少咗嘅。咁即係話，如果你做緊 secretary 嘅話咧，你突然間可能咧 being terminated 嘅喎，你可能俾人炒魷嘅喎，你俾人炒魷魚嘅喎。咁但係炒魷魚，你唔會喺度就炒咗就算噶嘛，係咪啊？要 look for a new job， 你會揾新嘅工作噶嘛，你會去轉型噶嘛，你會做一啲啱你做嘅嘢噶嘛。咁所以你呢個失業係一個短暫。OK，so that's why we call it frictional。frictional 就係個工作同啲人一路喺度摩擦緊，喺度互相配合緊。可能有人會走，可能都會變，咁就工作同嗰個人中間嗰個嘅摩擦啊，所以佢叫做 frictional。So we call it normal labour turnover. There must be changes, in the labour force, and there must be changes in the jobs。工作一定會變嘅，唔會永恆唔變嘅。OK。我哋以前好多工種而家冇咗噶啦，譬如以前咧，我哋會請人去畫嗰啲電影啲海報噶嘛，戶外大型海報，而家冇啦，你識做都冇人請你啦，係咪啊？以前唔會請人做 IT 噶嘛，係咪啊？以前唔會請人去做做一啲network 嘅嘢噶嘛，係咪啊？咁啊，得翻59.7咁得人驚，咁啊真係好得人驚，59.7真係好得人驚呵。好低咁啦，9.7，即係我哋有40%嘅人咧，淨係食飯係冇做嘢嘅。我哋有60%嘅人咧，去養40%嘅人咯。呢個社會裏邊都幾得人驚啊！好，咁就講緊咩咧 ？OK， 咁啊 frictional 係正常嘅。咁除咗 frictional 之外咧，你失業嘅原因係咩咧？第二個就係 structural。So structural means there are some changes in the industry。So there are some changes in a particular industry。係喺個行業裏邊，喺某一個行業裏邊 ，OK， 一個特定嘅行業裏邊有一啲轉變。So it can be change in technology。OK，it can be international competitions or change in the location of job. So it results in the position disappeared。做乜寫兩個 S？ 你個職位咧消失咗，喺香港消失咗。OK， 係個呢3類型嘅改變，係令到你個行業入邊嗰個職位消失咗。譬如科技嘅改變啦，呢個最obvious 就係我哋行 automation 啦。好多時我哋行 automation， 我哋行自動化係咪啊？咁啊，其實 automation 咧都令到咧銀行係少咗好多職位。咁啊，因為 automation 我哋大家用 e-banking 啦，我哋大家用一啲嘅 machines 啦，用機器啦，其實對 teller 即係嗰個櫃員嗰個服務個需求係少咗。咁所以呢個 technology 嘅 improvement 咧係會增加咗咧個 banking industry 入邊嘅 unemployment。咁啊，你見到我哋講嘅 technology 係講緊你個行業嘅 technology advancement。令到你呢個行業少咗一啲職位 ，OK， 咁所以係同某一個行業有關嘅，又或者可能係一個 international competition， 一個國際嘅競爭，咁即係好似波鞋咁啊 ，sneaker 嘅 production， 一啲波鞋嘅生產，咁啊啲波鞋公司好簡單嘅啫，邊度生產成本平，我咪擺喺邊度生產咯，咁啊以前內地平嘅就擺喺中國生產咯，而家啲波鞋都唔係中國生產噶啦，咁啊你攞對鞋嚟睇下咧，而家好多波鞋喺邊度生產啊 ？Vietnam 啦、越南啦、Cambodia 啦、柬埔寨啦、Sri Lanka 啦、斯里蘭卡啦，咁啊呢啲就係一啲 international competition， 一啲國際嘅競爭。So the production shift to countries with lower cost of production， 啲生產轉移咗喺啲國家，而啲國家係有一個 lower cost of production， 一個低啲嘅生產成本。OK， 咁啊呢個為之 international competition。咁所以你見到個影響係你個行業嘅啫，唔係成個香港。OK， 淨係你個行業講緊，或者係 change in location of job。咁啊呢個最明顯就係一啲 textile and clothing 啦，就係香港嘅紡織業啦。喺80年代嘅時候咧，香港嘅大部分嘅紡織業咧就 relocate 就去晒內地啦。去晒 mainland China 啦 ，OK， 咁呢個就係個 change of location location of jobs 嗰個工作嘅地點變咗啦。你可以做嘅，你要做你翻內地做。OK， 咁呢啲咧都係一啲嘅我哋叫 structural。咁所以你見到 structural 架構性嘅失業咧，就係同你個行業有關。你個行業改變咗，令到個職位冇咗啦。咁所以你失業啦。Okay, and then the last one is the cyclical. Cyclical 就係周期性嘅失業。So cyclical means the unemployment is resulted from recessions or expansion of the economy. 咁呢個就係個 business cycle 個經濟週期係 recession 衰退 ，OK or expansion 擴展、擴張。Okay, so for example, in 2008, we have the financial tsunami. 咁08年我哋有金融海嘯係咪啊？ So it is a kind of recession, and during this recession, we have less business activities. 喺個金融海嘯嘅時候咧，我哋少咗好多經濟活動、商業活動。Okay, so it results in unemployment. 咁因為經濟活動少咗，商業活動少咗，引致嘅失業，我哋叫做 cyclical。咁即係好似而家因為疫症，所以我哋個經濟環境差咗啦。咁啲公司執笠啦，令到啲人失業啦。咁呢個情況下，我哋就叫做 cyclical 嘅 unemployment 啦。咁所以而家我哋話失業率升咗咧，其實主要係嚟自 cyclical 嘅 unemployment。好，咁我哋睇一睇一個 checkpoint exercise 咯。Okay, so it is about Alan and Benny. So it said both of them are encounter job difficulty. So for Alan was a banker, okay, but was laid off when the economy was hit by the financial crisis. So the key word is financial crisis. 佢因為金融危機、金融問題 ，OK， 令到冇咗佢份工啦。Okay, so it is about the economy. The economy fell into a recession. 呢個係一個經濟嘅衰退。OK， 嗱記住咧，我哋入邊有 case information， 呢個係個 case information。而 based on 個 case inform 咧，你就要 develop 究竟係咩原因令到佢失業。OK， 咩原因令到佢失業啊？就係一個 economy fell into recession。OK， 咁既然係 fell into recessions， what is your conclusion? Your conclusion is it is a cyclical unemployment。咁佢就係一個周期性嘅失業啦。Okay, then another case, it is about Benny. Okay, Benny was a technician of low-end mobile set, but was laid off. It was because his company determined to stop the production line of it and allocate the resources to develop advanced model, which are trend in this industry. 佢成個貨品嘅生產線冇咗，咁係佢個行業嘅沒落，係個行業嘅問題，係個行業嘅改變，唔係社會大環境，亦都唔係佢轉工。咁所以呢個我哋就會 classify 佢係一個 structural unemployment， 一個架構性嘅失業。Okay, so we will get the case information. The case information is the production line stopped it. 我哋可以加翻個 production line is stopped it， 冇咗成條 production line。So when the production line is stopped, it is caused by the technological advancement. 呢個係個科技嘅改變，令到個行業 outdated， 令到個行業咧減少咗 production activities 啦。所以阿 Benny 而家咧，佢嗰個技能係 obsolete 就係過時啦。佢識嘅嘢咧冇用，佢識嘅嘢過。咁所以呢個我哋得出嚟嘅結論就係一個 structural unemployment， 一個架構性嘅失業。OK， 呢個你哋識分咯喎。咁究竟佢失業係因為個經濟嘅問題啊、行業嘅問題啊，定係個 position 嘅問題咧？而家呢個就係行業嘅問題啦。好，等同學寫埋先嚇。好啦，咁我哋學識咗呢三個分類之後咧，我哋又翻去頭先咧，我哋個 overall 嗰個 chart 嗰度睇下。我哋睇翻頭先我哋嗰個 chart， 將呢三個分類咧擺埋落去咧，我哋嗰個 tree diagram。 嗰度好嘛？雖然好亂嚇 ，OK， 咁我哋又加埋落去咯喎。點解會加埋落去咧？依家你就知點解啦。OK， 好啦，咁我哋發覺原來 unemployment 我哋分3類。OK， 我哋有 frictional 嘅，即係話因為有人加入、有人離開個 labour force， 或者我哋嘅 job position 嘅轉變。我哋有 structural 架構性，即係個行業嘅轉變。我哋有 cyclical， 即係個商業活動嘅轉變。OK， 好啦，咁我哋分完3類之後咧，其實我哋發覺咧，我哋又可以咧將呢一度呢兩個加埋一齊咧，我哋有個名俾佢嘅，我哋叫佢做 natural unemployment。natural unemployment 一個自然嘅失業。Okay, so natural unemployment means these two types of unemployment are some normal situation and are some normal phenomena。我哋發覺咧，呢兩種失業咧係一個好自然嘅現象嚟嘅，亦都係避免唔到嘅。你諗下，人嘅轉工、工作嘅轉變、人嘅轉變，呢啲係避免唔到，係一個好正常嘅現象。有人加入個 labour force， 有人離開個 labour force， 有新工種出現，有工種係outdated 已經係要 eliminate 要取消嘅，咁呢個係一個好正常社會發展嘅時候會出現嘅現象。structural 都係啦 ，structural 係架構性失業。當一個行業要發展嘅時候，自然有新嘅科技。一個行業有發展嘅時候，自然佢會面對競爭。我哋唔會永遠都做紡織業㗎嘛。咁所以我哋發覺咧，喺一個經濟發展裏邊咧 ，frictional 同埋 structural 咧都係必經嘅 unemployment， 亦都係一啲 desirable 嘅理想嘅 unemployment。佢哋出現冇問題㗎，我哋出現係我哋進步，所以先會有呢兩種 unemployment 出現啊嘛。咁所以呢兩種 unemployment 咧，我哋會 regard them as natural unemployment。唯一係 undesirable 咧，唯一係唔理想嘅咧，就係 cyclical 嘅 unemployment， 週期性嘅失業。因為週期性嘅失業係代表我哋經濟活動支持唔到我哋全民就業，經濟唔好，所以我有人冇嘢做。呢個唔係一個進步嚟嘅。OK，structural 同埋 frictional 係一個 improvement， 係一個改進引致嘅失業嚟。咁所以咧，基於我哋呢一個分類咧，我哋得出嚟咧，去翻 slide number 8嗰度，我哋就可以睇到點解我哋會有一個 terms 叫做 natural unemployment。Okay, so we said natural unemployment means when all the unemployment are just frictional and structural. So we find that they are some natural phenomena, some normal phenomena. So they must be there, cannot be eliminated. 呢兩類型嘅失業咧係 cannot be eliminated。你係唔可以消滅，唔可以消除，唔可以令到佢消失嘅。OK，so there must be some unemployment。我哋一定會有一啲失業出現嘅，因為 frictional 會出現 ，structural 會出現。咁所以當我哋講 full employment， 我哋講 full employment 全民就業嘅時候咧，唔係話個 unemployment rate 等於0。OK， 唔係話 unemployment rate 等於。unemployment rate 等於0 ，OK？ 呢個唔係我哋講嘅 full employment 全民就業，唔係等於0 ，OK？ 我哋要接受 unemployment rate 係一定會存在，因為我有 frictional 嘅 unemployment， 呢個一定存在嘅，人係會轉工，唔會唔進步嘅，社會一定會進步嘅，一定會有架構性嘅失業，咁所以我哋要接受呢兩類型嘅失業嘅存在，咁所以當我哋所有嘅 unemployment 都係 frictional 同埋 structural。咁我哋就已經叫做 full employment。Okay, so full employment means there is no cyclical unemployment。只要我哋冇週期性失業，咁呢個就係我哋講嘅全民就業。咁即係話，如果 frictional unemployment 係2%，而 structural 係1% 嘅話咧，咁我哋個 natural unemployment rate 就係3% 啦。自然嘅 unemployment rate， 因為自然嘅意思就係呢兩個加埋啊嘛。OK， 咁所以如果我哋而家嘅 unemployment rate， 我哋嘅 unemployment rate 都係3%， 如果我哋嘅 unemployment rate 係等於 個 natural unemployment rate 嘅。我哋嘅失業率同我哋嘅 natural unemployment rate 都係3%，咁即係話 cyclical unemployment 係0啦。咁呢個情況之下，我哋已經叫做全民就業㗎啦。OK， 咁我 clear 咗，對唔住。OK， 如果個 natural 係3%，如果個 unemployment rate 都係3%，OK， 咁即係個 cyclical 嘅 unemployment 就係等於0啦。咁呢個就係我哋講嘅 full employment 啦。我哋係容許有 unemployment 出現，因為你係消除唔到嘅，一定有人轉工，行業一定會進步。Okay, so when we say full employment, it means there is no cyclical unemployment, and all unemployment belongs to frictional and structural. 咁所以咧，我哋平時都有公布失業率㗎，2%、3%，政府冇乜反應，大家都冇乜反應，因為呢個其實我哋平時好多時嗰個失業率就係個 natural rate 嚟，一個正常嘅失業率嚟，因為人會轉工啫，因為行業會進步啫。咁但係去到而家4點幾嘅時候咧，就係我哋嘅 unemployment rate 係高過個 natural rate， 咁即係我哋係有 cyclical unemployment， 咁所以點解大家先至會去到咁緊張？好啦，咁呢度我哋睇下咯，究竟有啲咩 major factors 會影響個 natural unemployment 咧，影響個自然嘅失業率咧，即係會令到個 frictional 或者係個 structural 嘅 unemployment 增加咧？有啲咩國家佢個 frictional 同埋 structural 嘅 unemployment 會比較高或者比較低咧？Okay, so the first factor is the age age distribution of the population. So for population with younger populations, 如果個國家裏邊係有年輕嘅人口嘅話咧 ，OK 個年輕人口比例係比較多嘅話咧，咁我哋話咧每一年都會好多 job seeker 嘅，每一年都有好多新嘅人有 new job seekers 嘅，咁所以佢個 frictional unemployment rate 咧係會比較高嘅，每一年都有幾十萬人或者幾萬人加入勞動人口，咁呢幾萬人一開頭都係失業嘅，咁但係調翻轉，如果我哋有一啲 aged population 即係話比較成熟嘅人口，香港係屬於 aged 嘅，年紀大嘅人比較多，年輕嘅人比較少。咁所以香港個 frictional unemployment rate 咧可以係低啲，因為我哋每年新加入社會嘅人數唔會好大量，個比例唔會好大。Okay, the second one is the pace of the structural change. 嗰個嘅架構，行業嘅架構改變個 pace 嗰個速度有幾高咧，有幾快咧？ So it is talking about the change in technology and the change in international competition. 呢個係講緊科技嘅改變有幾快啦，同埋國際嘅競爭有幾激烈。咁所以我近年發覺嗰個 structural unemployment 咧都會多咗嘅。個原因就係個科技進步得好快，啲工作變得好快。OK， 你識嘅嘢已經 outdated 嘅時候，你就會失業啦。Okay, and then the real wage rate 就係實際嘅工資啦，實際嘅工資。So if the real wage rate is above the equilibrium rate, okay, then there will be a surplus of labour, and it increase the natural unemployment rate. 咁咩情況係咁咧？好多時咧就係一啲嘅 minimum wages ordinance。當我哋有一啲 minimum wages ordinance， 當我哋有一啲最低工資嘅法例嘅時候咧，譬如個 market price 係50蚊一個鐘嘅，咁但係我哋最低工資咧係60蚊一個鐘。咁當我哋嗰個最低工資係60蚊一個鐘嘅時候咧，個 QS of labour 咪會大過個 QD of labour 咯。個人口即係嗰個就業人口嘅供應多咗，人願意做嘢多過願意請人嘅人啦。咁呢度咪就係個 surplus of labour 啦。咁個 QS 就會大過 QD of labour 啦。人嘅供應就會大過人嘅需求，咁咪多咗人冇嘢做咯。OK， 咁所以點解最低工資未必係好事咧？就係好似而家咁，因為有最低工資啦，咁啲年輕人就去咗做看更啦。咁啲年紀大嘅就冇咗做看更嘅機會啦。咁年紀大嗰班人咪變咗失業咯。而佢失業嘅原因就係因為個工資提高咗。OK， 咁願意做呢份工嘅人多過呢份工需要嘅人數啦。 好，最後尾就係個 unemployment benefit。So it is the unemployment benefit provided by the government。政府提供嘅失業嘅援助有幾多 ？So the higher, the more benefits provided by the government. Okay, it lower the opportunity cost of job searching. It lower the opportunity cost of being unemployed。如果有失業救濟，你係 unemployed， 你係失業嘅時候，你個 opportunity cost 咪低咗咯，你個機會成本咪低咗咯。我揾20蚊個鐘頭20蚊一個鐘嘅，如果我唔做嘢，我失業咧，政府咧係補貼10蚊一個鐘俾我嘅。咁即係話，如果我係失業嘅話咧，我嘅 opportunity cost 唔係20蚊，而係10蚊啫噃。政府嘅失業救濟減低咗我唔做嘢嘅時候嗰個成本啊。咁我哋都係 rational decision maker 啊嘛 ，compare NBMC 啫嘛。你個 opportunity cost 低咗，冇嘢做唔緊要啦，係咪啊？份工唔好做，炒咗老闆魷魚先啦。政府有救濟金啊嘛，慢慢揾過咯。如果政府冇咧，唔好慢慢揾過咯喎，係咪啊？手停口停啦。咁所以如果救濟嗰個救濟金、救濟援助係越多嘅話咧，咁個 frictional unemployment 係會越多嘅。其實呢度係影響緊個 frictional unemployment。係啊，佢哋失業率好高就係。呢個就係佢哋唔想做嘢咯，本身係咪啊？唔做嘢都唔緊要啦，有政府養，所以佢哋嘅 frictional unemployment 嘅 natural unemployment 可以好高。係啦，咁呢4個 factors 就會影響到個 natural unemployment rate 係高定係低啦。好，咁講埋最後尾呢一度咯喎，好嘛？我哋又翻去咯喎，咁同個 GDP 有咩關係咧？OK， 同個 GDP 有咩關係咧？嗱，記住我哋之前講過 potential GDP 潛在嘅 GDP， 潛在嘅 GDP 係咩啊？當我哋 full employment 嘅時候 ，OK， 可以達到嘅 GDP 就係潛在嘅 GDP 啦。咁 that's why 咧，你會見到當我哋 full employment 嘅時候會係點咧？當我哋係 full employment 嘅時候，全民就業嘅時候 ，OK。咁我哋嗰個嘅real GDP 真正做到嘅 GDP 咧，就會等於個 potential GDP。你做到嘅嘢就等於你潛在嘅嘢啦 ，full employment 啊嘛，係咪啊？咁所以如果 full employment 嘅時候，我哋嘅 real GDP 就會等於個 potential GDP。咁呢個情況之下咧，我哋就話 no output gap。你生產到嘅嘢咧係冇差異嘅，你應該生產到就生產到幾多。咁即係話你每日應該溫8個鐘頭書，你真係溫8個鐘頭書咧，咁你得出嚟嘅 GPA 咧，應該就等於你潛力嘅 GPA 啦，係咪啊？咁你就 no result output gap 啦，你冇 output gap 啦，係咪啊？你應該得到 GPA 等於4，跟住然後你真係攞到4，你嘅潛力係4，你真係攞到4，因為你完全發揮咗你嘅潛力啊嘛，你每日要溫8個鐘頭書，你真係做8個鐘啊嘛。咁我哋 full employment 嘅情況之下係冇 output gap。咁但係仲有2個情況，呢個係第一個情況。第二個情況啦，如果我哋嘅 unemployment rate 係高過嗰個 natural rate， 咁當我哋嘅 unemployment rate 係高過個 natural rate， 即係我哋係有 cyclical unemployment 啦。個 cyclical unemployment 係3% 啦，喺呢個例子係咪啊？所以嗰個 unemployment rate 先會高過個 natural rate。咁如果你有cyclical unemployment 嘅話咧，你個 real GDP 你製造到嘅 GDP 就會少過你嘅 potential， 少過你嘅潛力啦。咁好正常啫，我都用唔晒啲人，我有30%人冇用到，我生產出嚟嘅真正生產出嚟嘅一定少過我嘅潛力㗎。每日應該溫8個鐘頭書，你而家溫咗4個鐘啫嘛，係咪啊？你有 unemployment 喎，你啲時間，咁你做到嘅嘢一定少過你嘅潛力㗎。咁呢個出到嚟咧，我哋就話咧，佢會有一個 negative 嘅 output gap。OK， 呢個我哋就話係一個 negative 嘅 output gap 啦，一個負嘅生產嘅差異啦，即係你比你應該生產嘅少咗啦，你比你應該生產嘅少咗。咁呢個我哋叫做 negative 嘅 output gap。咁又或者咧，我哋咧會可以叫佢做咧一個recessionary gap， 一個衰退嘅差異啦。當我哋生產嘅比實際少咗，呢個就係一個衰退嘅差異。好啦，咁第3個情況咯， 第三個情況就係你個 unemployment rate 3%，而你個 natural rate 係4%。咁即係話我哋而家係 overemployed 喎，我哋而家係 overemployed， 我哋啲人力資源咧係 overemployed， 用多咗啊！咁點解個失業率會低過個自然率咧？就係啲人勤力咗啦。頭先有同學問我話佢64歲仲做緊嘢嘅，如果佢64歲仲做緊嘢，佢就喺呢度啦。我哋失業率係3%，但係 natural rate 係4%，即係個 cyclical unemployment 係負。負嘅意思即係我哋唔夠人手啊，我哋揾人開 OT 咯。每日原本你要做8個鐘，做夠10個鐘咯。你退咗休啊，都翻嚟幫手啦，係咪啊？咁呢個咪會令到我哋嘅實際失業率係會高過個自然率啦。咁呢個係 overemployed。咁啊 overemployed 咧會係點咧？咁你個 real GDP 就會大過 potential， 你真真正正生產到嘅嘢就會多過你潛力啦。即係你一日應該温8個鐘頭書，你温咗10個鐘，咁所以如果你每日温8個鐘頭書，你個 GPA 應該係4嘅，咁啊你而家去到4.2啦，因為你每日唔止温8個鐘。咁呢個我哋就叫做 positive 嘅 output gap， 一個正面嘅 output gap 啦，即係話你生產嘅比你嘅潛力更加多。OK， 咁啊你生產比你嘅潛力更加多嘅話咧，咁呢個我哋就會叫佢做一個 inflationary gap。deflationary gap 其實就係個 recessionary 咯，不過我哋就冇用到個 deflationary， 我哋用咗 recessionary 呢個 term 啫，得唔得？咁啊呢一版其實你連埋頭先個版體會容易理解啲嘅。咁啊得3個情況啫，就係究竟我哋係咪 full employment 定係 underemployment 定係 overemployment？ 咁引申出嚟，究竟個 real GDP 多啲啊，定係 potential GDP 多啲？咁我哋叫佢做 positive 定係 negative 定係 no output gap。OK， 咁啊，我哋 describe 3個唔同嘅情況啫，只不過係究竟我哋而家係有定係冇失業，出到嚟會影響到個 GDP 係點樣影響啫？好，咁啊，我哋要講嘅係咁多喎，講晒啦喎，都唔係好難啊嗬。OK， 圖呢度係咪呢部分？呢度呢部分。21、22，好啊，等同學寫埋先。好，咁excuse me。21、22睇咩先？呢度係咪呢度？係咪呢張 ？No。MSAD 哦，今日講嗰度呢度。哦，頭先你未嚟到係咪啊？應該 OK 嗱，呢一度咧，其實係講緊咩咧？我哋就講緊 monetary policy。OK， 咁咧 monetary policy 嘅意思係咩啊 ？monetary policy 就係 what is your tools? Your tools is the money supply. Okay, and then we use the money supply as the tools so that we try to influence the economic condition。我哋嘗試用 money supply 作為我哋嘅工具，作為我哋手段，影響個經濟狀態。OK， 咁所以如果你係增加 money supply， 會有咩情況出現啊？如果市場嘅貨幣供應多咗，咁大家咪多咗錢使咯，多咗錢 使嘅時候嘅 AD aggregate demand 就會增加啦。aggregate demand 咧就係個 total demand for all goods and services in the societies。喺個社會裏邊，我哋對所有嘅服務同埋貨品嘅總需求，即係平時我哋新聞講嘅內需就係呢個 AD 啦。當市場充斥多咗錢，大家嘅內需就會多咗，多咗人買嘢就會多咗生產啦。多咗生產，我哋嘅 national income 咪會增加咯。咁呢個就會係一個 expansionary 嘅 monetary policy。我哋透過 money supply 去到 stimulate 去刺激個經濟。咁有陣時我哋需要 slow down， 要去 cool down 個經濟嘅。經濟發展得太快過熱，我哋就要 slow down。咁如果 slow down， 我哋就調翻轉啦，我哋要減少 money supply。當市場嘅錢少咗咧，大家嘅消費意欲就會減少。消費意欲減少咧，我哋生產減少。OK， 咁就可以 slow down 去 cool down 嗰個 economy 啦。咁呢個就為之 monetary policy。咁即係話其實我哋嘅 tools 就係個 money supply。咁所以我哋話咁，既然我哋要去 change 個 money supply， 咁用咩方法咧？咁我哋就話呢4個咧就係一啲嘅 tools， 令到我哋可以增加或者減少 money supply 嘅。咁包括咗我哋可以降低個存款金率啦。我哋話如果你降低個存款金率嘅時候，銀行咪多咗 reserve 咯。銀行多咗 reserve， 咁佢咪可以借多啲錢出街，咪可以有 deposit creation 咯。OK， 咁呢個就係個 expansionary monetary policy 嘅意思啦。我哋透過減低個存款金率，令到個市場入邊多啲借貸活動，製造咗存款，咁就可以增加 money supply。咁除咗調控嗰個嘅required reserve ratio 之外咧，咁另一個方法咧，我哋可以做就係 discount rate 啦。discount rate 係貼現率。貼現率即係話，如果你要問 central bank 借錢嘅 commercial bank 問 central bank 借錢嘅時候，收嘅利率就係我哋講嘅貼現率。咁其實係個 interest rate。咁如果個 discount rate 係低啲嘅，個 interest rate 係低嘅，咁咪可以 encourage 鼓勵咗啲銀行借錢咯。啲銀行問 central bank 借咗錢，佢咪會多咗儲備金喺度咯。咁咪佢咪可以借俾客咯。咁咪可以有 deposit creation 啦。咁呢個就係講緊嗰個 discount rate 嘅貼現率嘅意思。咁interest rate 差唔多嘅啫，不過 interest rate 係講緊個 prime rate。prime rate 係最優惠利率。咁就係當啲 commercial bank 借錢俾佢嘅顧客。咁最優惠利率意思即係最低嘅息率。咁就係我哋借俾我最 preferred customer， 我哋最喜愛嘅顧客。OK， 最想借錢俾佢嘅顧客，即係話一個最低嘅息率。當我哋減息嘅時候咧，其實係可以鼓勵個客人借貸嘅。OK， 上升咗 loans to the public， 我哋借俾市民大眾嘅錢就會多咗啦。咁呢個咪可以有 deposit creation 啦，咪可以製造存款，咪增加 money supply 咯。好，最後尾嗰個就係話，當政府呢個係講緊政府個 central bank 個 government 買 bonds 嘅時候，當佢買喺個市場入邊買 bonds 嘅時候咧，咁啲 cash 就係 flow to the general public， 啲錢咪會流向咗個市民大眾嗰度咯。政府買嘢啊嘛，啲錢咪流向咗個市民大眾咯。咁啲錢流向咗市民大眾，咁銀行嘅儲備金會唔會多咗？咁我哋咪可以借錢出街咯。借錢出街咪有 deposit creation 啦。咁簡略地就係咁樣啦。咁money supply 減少就相反啦，係咪啊？所有嘢相反就係 money supply 減少個 effect。好，咁你睇下仲有冇問題問下？因為咧，其實我哋今日咧仲有一樣嘢要做嘅，咁咧就係學院咧就叫我哋咧提同